Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's reading vlog is going to be a little bit different. I will be reading books that you think I will hate, specifically the ones that are already on my shelf, because I didn't go out of my way to buy books that I think I'm going to hate. I very rarely do that. I wanted to try to get rid of books. It's been my mission all throughout the year to just declutter my bookcases, and it's been going well. I did do a video like this in the past. I will link it down below, but you have since told me that I would hate more of the books that are on my shelf. Often for the same reason. I am just very tired of specific books, specifically fantasy and sci-fi, that just contain misogyny, a lot of like needless essay scenes, some problematic authors also that I just don't really want to support. Yeah, so we're gonna go through my shelves. I'm gonna pick up some of the books and we'll see whatever I feel the need to read until they piss me off. So I already had a couple that I had put on here and then a few here. Let's go just through them because you named a couple more that were on my shelf. Let me just move the chair. And I'm going to pick those up and we're going to bring them up. You guys mentioned to me that last time I didn't care for a Jim Butcher, so maybe I should try this one. It's thick, but you know, should happen. What else did you name? I think someone mentioned this one too. Let's see. Randy Sandy, usually not a problem. Definitely tell me if you see something else and you think I would hate them because I want to know. But this was the list. Apparently this one, the author, I should Google him. And apparently there's a really problematic scene towards the end. I believe this one I should be mostly fine on this bookcase. I have read these. They're good. Again, I've read most of these too. We're good. I don't think this bookcase contains much that would be, but let's just look quickly. A lot of my favorites. A lot of YA ones that I will need to try and declutter. Okay, I have heard, I think this author has some weird stuff, which the side of that thing, I don't know if I want to read it now. I know a lot of these are. I have been collecting them because I think they're really pretty, and the ones that I have read have not been great, like this one. And I think a few people told me Philip K. Dick was, so I look forward to trying that one day, just not during this vlog. Oh, I know this author in general. Like, I owned this book before I found out more about him. I've seen some of his quotes for Stranger in Strange Land, and I don't think you can accuse things being different back in the day to excuse that. So let's not do that. With this one, are we seeing anything that bad? I don't think so. Although a few people said I probably wouldn't enjoy him, and I don't know yet. I haven't tried anything by him. What else? What else do we have? So we have this one, which I bought because it was a popular one, and I think you guys told me this one too. Okay, so I think we're going to focus on fantasy sci-fi because I did that last time, and I feel like there are just more than enough before we go through the rest. Although I don't feel like I own that many problematic books from other series because I bought most of these used, as I do most of the time for everything, and I wasn't as into other genres when I first started, and I'm just more aware now. So yeah, let's quickly mention why I forgot this one. Sphere, I have read a couple books by the author. The first three I read didn't seem that problematic, although it's been a couple years, so who knows. And I've heard that this one, there was some racism and some misogyny, and I believe it because I have tried to read Prey earlier this year, and ooh. So I might actually try this one. This was on a list of like must read, you know, classic sci-fi everyone grew up reading, and it's fantastic. And as soon as I showed it in book haul, a lot of you told me it did not age well. So probably should try this one. Again, that was one of the ones that was named in the last vlog that I mentioned that I wanted to do this. I feel like this is such a well-known author. I should try this. I'm tempted to try this because everyone told me it's really good until it's not. So maybe I can keep that for last for the vlog. I need to Google him. I mean, okay, since I'm picking one sci-fi, I should pick one fantasy. I think I'm going to go with this one. Because this one, yes, it's big, but I've heard that it's just a struggle to go through, and my edition is like 850 pages. So maybe a part 3. If you enjoyed these videos, thumbs up, and I'll know that it's popular and you want me to keep going, and I can go through all the other ones that I have already. So, you know, we have plenty. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to Google him. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. And then I'll start this one. We'll see how it goes. And once I'm done with it, whether I finish it and I disagree with you, highly doubt that, or until it pisses me off, and then I'll switch this one. But let's get to Googling. I'm afraid. I know some of you read these books when you were younger and we were like, no, I love that one. Why would it be something you read until it pisses you off? But, you know, people are people. So what's his name? David Eddings. What should I Google with that? Controversy? Should I check Reddit? Do they have the tea? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna put on the screen the first thing. Oh, okay. Okay. So apparently there were allegations and then full on went to jail with his wife because of child. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit more. I don't really want to, but oh. Oh. Okay. I don't know what that sound was, but that's the shock. Yeah, no. It's gonna go. My unhaul shelf. Because F that. F that. Okay. So that was effective. Already one book down. And it did piss me off. So cool. So I'm going to see you later today. I'm going to start this one. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I know that there's like a problematic scene towards the end, as I've been told. So I might end up, you know, reading a lot of it or not. Actually, okay, I will give it that. I tend to not go for these like stiff looking paperback, but it's floppy. Actually, both of them are floppy. I'm going to be extra annoyed when they actually piss me off. So, I'll see you in a bit. I think someone is tired of me recording videos. Hi, Claudia. Can I see your pretty face? Hi. Do you miss me? Yeah, we're going to go feed you. Okay, so I'm on page 14, and we've already established that this is a sexist world. The characters acknowledged it, so like right now I'm not like pissed off. Whatever, that's the point of the vlog, right? But there's this female character who's basically the head of the small town or village, I guess. The nickname that people give her behind her back is Baron, because she has no kids. And this man who is a messenger just came to town, blah blah blah, is having this conversation with the main male character who is a teenager, I guess. And they're talking about it, and the messenger is saying that, oh, she's an old daughter. Like, why is everyone obeying her? You know, people obey mothers, not old daughters. But at least, again, they acknowledge it, and the teenage boy is saying how it's dumb that women don't have much of a voice other places. So, again, it's a sexist world. We can all acknowledge that there's a difference between sexist character, world, or author. So far, obviously, I'm not a big fan, but yeah, but we'll see. It doesn't start, I'll admit, but it's fine, I guess. I just have to say, like, can we just at least mention that it's always like that? It's like these authors cannot create, like, this fiction world, there are currently demons coming out from the ground during the night to attack people. So, like, you're imagining this whole world, but you cannot imagine a world that doesn't function like that. You know? Like, it's always like that. Always. And that's what I'm tired of. So, like, I understand why, at least so far, you guys didn't think I was going to love this. But again, I've been mostly warned about the scene towards the end. I'm at page 21. And they're talking about other cities, and one of them says that he stopped going to that other place, and the person replies, because it's too dangerous. And the other replies, so the fact that they cover their women in blankets has nothing to do with it. I wasn't warned about that part. Cool. Cool. They weren't done. Same conversation. And again, I'm aware that it's the characters, but at the same time, the fact that they think about saying that, you know, and they're saying how blah blah fighting, maybe they'd be less inclined to fight if they looked at their women more. I'll complain at the end. I'm just gonna keep going because I'm already getting. I guess I'm being extra critical in this video because I'm purposely reading, hoping I'm gonna hate it, like you said I would. but I can definitely tell the difference between the way female characters are described compared to the male characters. Like, for example, this one older man, and they're saying he was a big man, still strong and straight back at 60, but gray hair, blah blah, self gut. But the woman, it's like she was old too, almost 40. Okay. And like it's just one example, but at this point in these kind of videos, I'm showing you the accumulation, right? One of these things is like, okay, whatever. But like when it's constant, like that's still chapter one. It's a lot. And eventually I just become more and more annoyed. And it's also the kind of thing that I wouldn't have noticed growing up. And that's why I get extra mad, because it's so internalized at that point, right? It's just so accepted that people don't notice it. And as I'm getting older, I definitely notice it, and I'm definitely more and more annoyed at it. So yeah, that was chapter one, which was 34 pages. I'm gonna keep going, but I'm getting a little salty. Yeah, I'm gonna have trouble getting mad now because you could not be any closer from my face, like Charlie. And then there's Chunky. So I'm back into this room because of the heat wave, so let's just move on straight away to the book. I'm on page 66, and one, I found out that the female character is 11, so yeah, okay. But I am updating you because right now there's an incest scene. They are traveling for reasons, don't want to spoil it for you, and they stopped at this place, this farm, where it's the husband, well, the father, and there's 3 kids, 3 girls, because the mom passed away last year, whatever. So now there's a scene where the younger girls are talking to him and telling him that the oldest sister now is with their dad because now that the mom is gone, it's her duty to keep him happy the way a wife is supposed to. And like, I'm not saying it's not realistic, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that it's always their go-to. Women, girls being raped. And like, I read for my enjoyment. I just think it's sad. You could write anything, and this is what you choose. And like, you can talk about these topics. I've read books that were good that discuss these topics, but he's not making a social commentary, right? He's just showing that the world is dark. And I've been discussing that recently, so I feel like I needed to mention it because it's like another one. 68. Really? Really? I told myself I wasn't going to update you until much later, and here I am being annoyed, and I'm fully aware, okay? I'm trying to be fair. Why? I don't know. I'm trying to be fair. You know the whole, like, bish eating cracker thing? Basically, when you can't stand someone, they could just be innocently eating crackers, and they would just annoy you. And this is how I feel about a lot of these books. And, specifically, we've been introduced to a new character, and she's a 13-year-old girl. You already know where this is going. So, the second page of chapter 4. Just shy of 13th summer, Leisha was an exceptionally pretty girl, with long wavy black hair and sharp eyes of pale blue. She was not yet flowered. Like, I know in theory it's, so what? It just annoys me. Like, why are you describing her like this? And it's not the only reason. Obviously, I was trying to be reasonable. You're introduced to her mother also, who was still beautiful at 30. And again, I'm aware they have a rough life. I'll explain the plot when I further it makes more sense. But like they have a hard life. I'm aware. But like to stay still beautiful at 30. It happens so many times. I make sure to always mention it when a male author, because again, 90% of the time I've seen this, it was a male author describing a woman who is not old as still beautiful. And like again, I understand what you're trying to say, but like you don't say that about male characters ever. And like, sure, different criteria. I don't care. It's a fictional world. It pisses me off. And again, not done. Her mother had a full womanly figure that was the envy of all. Everyone is dying left and right, but the only thing Leisha hoped to inherit from her Her own breast had only just started to bud. And had a long way to go before they match her mother's. Why the are you writing about this? And like I know teenage girls might think like that, but like, why are you writing this? Why are you writing this? They always think about their little budding breast. No, it reminds me, The Witcher. I've mentioned it in my number one. It wasn't number one, but like in the nominees of the worst books that I've read up the 800 that I finished on Booktube, and that was one of the ones I mentioned for fantasy because there's a scene where he kills a monster, and turns out the monster was a 14-year-old girl who was turned to a monster, blah blah blah. And like one of the only descriptions of her appearance is about her pointy little breast. The 14-year-old freaking kid that he's mounting. Like, can we not? It's always why do you have to sexualize them? And like they're children. They're children. Except all of this. The topic seems intriguing enough that I want to see where this is going to go. So I'm going to keep going, but you can tell I'm already getting more and more pissed off. Can we just not see or talk about any female character at this point? I would rather that than this. Because, like, right now, I don't want to spoil anything. Like, 40 pages into it. No. Okay. 89. But, like, one of them died to start the adventure for the male character, which is, like, one of my favorite tropes. And yeah, the other one is just, I don't know, is she gonna be love interest? Hopefully not. She's 2 years older than him, but she's 13 and he's 11. Please. I should probably just put it down, but again, it seems interesting. The world building so far, what I got is that there are these demons that come out at night. Yes. And I'm gonna explain it roughly because read it if that interests you, because I do think that is a fun concept. Basically, humans were getting good at killing them and then they hid away, so humanity kind of forgot about magic and just focused on science. And then the demons came back and we were utterly unprepared. They were very much unprepared. And that's what we're seeing now. And that's why there are still people alive, because they seem to be dying left and right. So yeah, the female character, like I said, someone dies, woman dies, and that seems to be the beginning of his adventure. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading, but will I even make it to the awful scene? I don't know. I really told myself I wasn't going to update you today, but anybody else? Like, is it just me that is like so extra sensitive because I've read so many books, right, at this point that I have no more patience for it. I feel like if I were to read this when I was 15 or 13 with no budding breast, my gosh. I was very late through puberty. Puberty hit me like a train at 17 and not a day before. I would have just ignored so much. So much. Because you grew up absorbing all this crap, right? And then you get older and you realize, what is the best part about getting older? Seriously. I never want to read the word flower again. It's like the third time. Like, we get it. 4. A lot of girl hate between the girls. Okay, so update. I'm at chapter 7, page 153. And the book, or my enjoyment of it, might be salvaged because we've been introduced to my favorite character so far, an old grumpy witch, of course. My favorite, right? So she is making the book a lot more readable at this point. I will say though, this reads like a YA book. And I feel like we've just had that discussion about how, female authors tend to be categorized as YA authors, even though they're not. I feel like it's the opposite with some male authors. And I went on Goodreads to say I was currently reading this. And I noticed that underneath that book, it said also, like, the readers also enjoyed. And then it was a bunch of Brent Weeks books, which I feel the same about him. I feel like, don't care for, but his books also feel like YA books to me. Oh my, I have an update for you. I finished a book. You can see the million post-its. If I had followed team of this vlog, I wouldn't have finished it because it did piss me off. But you know when you're just watching a train wreck and you have to keep going because you need to know how bad is it gonna get? Bad, bad. And I finished it last night. I told myself I was going to give myself, a few hours to digest and calm down. And I don't know how successful that was, but what's funny is that if you had asked me the day before yesterday, I would have told you things are actually getting better. Like, the world building, the magic system, I'm getting intrigued. I'm curious to see, where are demons coming from? What's the whole plot with it? What, where things are going to go. And I realized that that's because we hadn't seen the female character for 150 pages. So she comes back. I will have to spoil her storyline a little bit in order to give you the tea, but like, honestly, it doesn't take away from any of the rest if you were to really want to read it, which not really my first recommendation, but So her storyline, in the beginning, she was 13, she had her flower, and she was promised to this big dumb dude named Garrett. And Garrett, as they do, pretended that they had done it to sound cool. And she decided, you know what, we're not promised anymore. F you. So that's when she gets to study under the wing of not really witch, but the old grumpy woman, who is the only half decent female character. So she studies under her for like 7 years, and then she gets an offer to go and study in town under someone else so she could learn more. And in order to do that, they have to be on the road for like 7 days. But like I mentioned earlier, like in that world, demons come out of the ground during the night, and they have to have like wards on their houses to stay protected. And like they have to continuously make sure they're perfect. Otherwise, they will get. So it's always a constant fear. And obviously out in the open, crazy, you will die. Except that she decides to go with a messenger because these people have like portable circles of protection. So she decides to go with that dude who had been flirting with her the whole time. So like people were warning her, things are going to happen if you go. And she obviously still had her flower, which I will keep saying that because he kept saying it and made me cringe every time. So I have to make you cringe too. You're welcome. So she decides to go with him. And obviously he attempts to grape her every single night. Cool. But it's fine because she knew, so she was spiking his food to make him unable to get hard. So instead, she only had to deal with his ego, the anger, the violence, the frustration, the tears. So that was fine. I thought at first that was the scene that you guys thought that was going to piss me off, which I was like, I expected worse. That's how I thought. But that was before the 150 pages where she was in there. So it got worse, of course. That's why I kept going, and then things got better. But then 7 years later, once she's done her education in that city with someone else, she gets bad news. She has to come back to the village, like in an emergency. And she can't find anyone to give her a ride until she finds said messenger 7 years later, who tells her, well, I don't want your money. You know what I want. And she decides, yeah, that's fine. And, oh, by the way, at the time she's 27 at that point, and she's still a virgin. So like, oh, flower, sorry. So she decides, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. The whole time she was like, oh, I'm okay not getting married and having babies. Like, obviously I would like to, but like no emergency, even though everyone is like rushing her. And she decides, F all of it. Yep, I want to ride. So he attempts to ride there and there, like in public-ish. Like, anyway, she decides, let me run away. She gets a ride with someone else who is another boy, much younger. And he suddenly has no more street smart. And like on the first night, they are stopping at an inn, and he tells everyone that they have a portable circle, which again, expensive thing. So of course, the second that they're out of there, they get robbed. And of course, the three men also grape her. Of course. So her first time is through violence, and that starts the story even more, That's one of my favorite trope, of course. So because she's been through that trauma, that's the time for the big hero to come and sweep and just save them all. So that's what happens. They are a few days off from the village, and I almost stopped there, but I was like, okay, I'm guessing the worst has come to pass. Nope, no, it hasn't. It hasn't. So while they are continuing to go towards the village, she decides to have sex with him after being a few days before. Of course, that would have happened. And she also falls in love with him, yes, suddenly, and decides that she wants her babies. Because that's all the women in the books want, by the way. Literally all of them. Which, like, most women want children. That's not the point. But, like, every female character is just obsessed. This is, like, the second woman that goes after that dude and tries to, like, tie him down to get married and have babies. Like that's literally their sole purpose in the whole book. And like the first girl that's into the other dude, the hero, she lives in this giant library. Like she has access to education. Maybe she could have been cooler, but no, she just wants to get married and have babies. Like all of them. And they're there just to create conflict, often again through sexual trauma. It's just, it's a mess. It's a mess. So yeah, instead of her becoming cool, she is just there to be a victim and be like trying to convince the hero to not become a hero and stay home and have babies. And he's like, oh, maybe she's the one. And he's like, oh no, I cannot, I must go on. So yeah, that's the plot through her eyes, her storyline. So that was fun. I loved it. To be honest, the worst part is that this isn't the worst book I've read with these issues. My issue isn't that it's a sexist world. My issue isn't even, well, yes, it is that every female character is dumb as a rock and that they exist just for either getting killed or and just wanting to stop him. Like that's literally why they are there. Just progressing the story for the male characters. But also, my issue is that it's another fantasy that's like that. And that's why I'm so rootless, because I cannot stand it anymore. It's nonstop. Every single one of them are like that. You created a world where there are freaking demons coming out of the ground, but women are having some kind of agency or interesting story. Impossible. Impossible. So, yeah. My main critique, though, is the fact that this screams first book. I don't know if it is his first book, but it screams first book and needed to be aggressively edited. Because again, there was potential, even if you forget all the complaints I've had, it needed to be edited. It got a little boring towards the end, but the world building, there was potential. I might even Google the ending, even though I will probably forget about doing that in like 5 minutes, but there was potential, so I understand why it's popular. I just resent the fact that I don't see reviews. I quickly looked on Goodreads. I didn't see the main reviews mentioning any of the Not surprising, but again, that's why I do these videos and I like to tell you, because then you can decide, okay, I feel like the storyline seems interesting enough that I will just be prepared and look past all of that to focus on the rest. But it's not enough that I will continue. You know, sometimes like I'm curious enough that I will, but like I'll be prepared. No, I'm not going to buy more books by this author. So yeah, unfortunate, because again, potential, but it was as bad as you said it was going to be. I really thought, obviously the first scene was already pretty bad, but the fact that she had sex with him a few days after being violently by 3 men and then is in love with him and wants his babies. So on that note, I think it's time for me to pick another book. It took me way longer than I thought it would because I did not put it down, and like I said, it got long towards the end, so it took me a while. I don't think I'm gonna have time to read Sphere, so I think I'm gonna grab another sci-fi because I do want to give a sci-fi a shot. I'm gonna grab the shorter one. Let me check. I'm trying to hide the other side because I'm reorganizing, redecorating, and things did not go well. I do end up posting a video. I think I'm gonna have to show you that background eventually because it looks better than this side. But it's like halfway done because I may have shed a few tears. Anyway, I'm gonna try this one. This is Ringworld. So I was warned that I was going to hate this. I am looking forward to it. I don't know what it is about. I forgot since I bought it. So I'm gonna give it a shot, but it's like 300 pages. So even if I decide to read the whole thing, you know, it won't take me hopefully a million years, but I'm expecting the worst because I'm already cranked. Like, I'm already, like, is that how you say that? And here we say that, cranky. Like, I'm already pissed. I'm already ready for this, so. You can probably tell by my expression that this book is going so well. I made it to page 62. I'm already pissed. I'll probably give it, like, one last shot kind of thing, just because I'm stubborn. But I'm not happy. I put a few post-its. They're all points I was annoyed. Let's start with the overall premise and then we can discuss specifically the post-its. Long story short, you have this man, he's 200 years old, it's in the future. And there are a few problematic descriptions. Basically, he's described as a rug, you know what I mean? So a few words like that throughout the book so far. So this dude is 200 years old, and there's this alien that shows up and tells him that he needs him for it as a like part of his team to go at the end of the known world, space. So they need to be four. So the alien, him, and then they go get another alien who they said the word cat, and that's all I retain. So a giant talking violent cat is in the team too. And then for the fourth person, they need someone basically that was bred for luck. And turns out that the only person that they managed to find, there were a few options, but the only person they managed to find, which if everyone is not answering their phone and they're very lucky and they can't come, probably a sign your mission is not going to go well. Just my 2 cents. So this woman, turns out she is at his party for his 200th birthday, and she's the descendant of someone he was in love with at one point. You already know where this is going. And she's 20. Because of course. So 180-year-old age gap. Nice. So of course, the alien asks her, do you want to go on this mission? She says no. And then the alien is like, okay, I'm coming back in 2 days to pick you up, 200-year-old dude, and, be prepared. So she decides to stay during that time with him. Of course, they have sex because of course. And she's literally at one point asking him, like, do I remind you? Really? Do I look like her? That is that woman. You need therapy. So yeah, that's what I remember so far. She tells him that she loves him after 2 days. Because of course, silly women. So, the post-its. Because I know I'm forgetting something, and clearly the goal is for me to be pissed, so let's see. The first one, they were talking about some aliens, and apparently the female of the cats are non-sentient females. Again, it comes back to, it's not that these aliens are non-sentient. It's the fact that you could write anything and you choose to write that. Oh, it wasn't obvious enough. You know what I mean. See, there. And then words I will not be saying. I don't know how focused it's going to be, but anyway. So there was that. What else? This non-sentient. Yes. Yeah, see her asking if she looks like her ancestor, because that's not messed up. Or saying I love you after 2 days. Oh gosh, this one I did giggle because they're describing her, hot, long legs, blah, blah, blah. But then they say her nose was almost unnoticeable. Clearly, the beauty standards are becoming crazy. You can't even have a nose anymore. So there was that. What else? Oh, apparently she's also shallow because, of course, the 20-year-old that you're sleeping with has to be shallow. Not you. You're not the problematic one. And it didn't read like he was unreliable, although to me it reads unsufferable, but whatever. And he was saying how there was a lack of empathy in her. Again, said from you. It just keeps going. Apparently she's only into, like, a lack of ability to feel someone else's pain, yet she could sense another's pleasure. Like, whatever. That man goes regularly in space when he can't stand people anymore after like 20 years, usually every 20 years. And he's saying how next time he goes, you'll make sure to take a woman. So yeah, nothing super crazy, I guess, but like 180-year-old, and he knows is I don't know. I'm not a big fan so far. Clearly, I'm gonna give it a bit of a shot, but frankly, more than all of this, I'm just really bored at the moment. So yeah, not a good start, but shouldn't be surprised with classic sci-fi. It's not even that old, is it? I mean, again, classic sci-fi are never that old. It's like 60s, 70s, like 1970. So, whatever. The update we all knew was coming. I did not finish the book. I will not finish the book. I will be getting rid of it. It's just boring, honestly. It's not even because I have issues with it. I'm just very, very bored. So I did want to mention too, I'm editing currently the clips and I've been having issues with the sound. I lost the raw clips because I had to empty my computer, it was too full. And now I can't really fix it. So I'm really sorry. Hopefully the video is still okay. And yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of me reading books you think I'll hate until they piss me off. And if you want to see part 2, like I said, thumbs up, subscribe, let me know in the comments. I'll put more videos on the screen, including part 1 if you want to see it. And I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.